Did you guys know that I was born in the day that Cernobyl exploded? I am the atomic child. No, but really, seriously. I was born in 1986. And it's really interesting. If you haven't seen the TV show Cernobyl, I highly recommend that you do. It is very, very meticulous in making sure that all the details in recreating life under the Iron Curtain are there, from the ideology to the disaster itself. Now, of course, it has a couple of things that it missed, but all in all, it's a really good TV show. It's so good that, believe it or not, one of the people that worked in cleaning the reactor committed suicide because the TV show reminded him of that tragedy. So no, it's a very faithful recreation. And there is just one thing that I would like to add. There is that part where the soldiers are being set up on the reactor to clean the rubble. The show does not mention that a lot of those soldiers volunteer to go more than once in order to protect other people from getting exposed. And that is something that I think should have been included. Also, here's another fun fact. The number of total deaths that Russia, up until this day, recognizes as the official count is 54 people. So that goes to show what communist countries do in order to cover up their own incompetence. Because this accident was done partially because of the incompetence of the Soviet Union. They hid the fact that there was a problem in the building of the reactor, and the reason they did it is because it was cheaper to keep building them that way. So yeah, it's really messed up. But again, when you have a totalitarian government that has control over the economy, that has control over the people's lives, that has control over how people think, then literally everything bad that is happening within the country is the blame of the government. But the government would never, ever punish itself. Because the moment it will show that it does mistakes, then people would lose faith in it. So it needs to cover up these things. It needs to sweep them under the rug. It needs to make sure that the scandal goes away. Kind of makes us think of current communist countries and totalitarian regimes in the world today, right? But anyway, so it's very difficult to tell how many people died because of Chernobyl. I mean, we know how many died in the aftermath, like in the following months, but the number of cancers that happened, it's very difficult to say because you don't know if the person got cancer because of radiations or they got cancer because they would have gotten it anyway. So it seems that the reactor is still doing problems today. The radiation level rise as fire burns near the Cernobyl former nuclear plant. Now, it seems that the people are working on a controlled blaze in order to burn the forest around the power plant to make sure that the fire doesn't get there. I'm not sure why they didn't did this sooner. I mean, you know, I guess hindsight is something easy to talk about, but if I was in charge, I would make sure that there is absolutely no forest in the area around the reactor in order to prevent stuff like this. But yeah, so because the fire is burning that forest, which is already radiated, you now have massive radiation in the atmosphere. And this radiation might now go over countries that it already passed when the reactor exploded, countries like mine. And if this happens, you need to understand it's not going to be as bad as when the reactor itself exploded. But, go ask your family doctor, if you have one, if it's okay to take an iodium pill. The reason that this works and is really good is because one of the main substances, one of the main radioactive elements that was released in the atmosphere was iodium. And the thyroid, the human thyroid, is trying to take iodium from the atmosphere in order to bind it within its molecule. So if it takes the radioactive iodium, then you risk getting thyroid cancer. But if you take an iodium pill, which is non-radioactive, then you make sure that the thyroid is already filled up so it doesn't take iodium from the atmosphere. And it's very good. It's what I got when I was a kid, what a lot of people here in Eastern Europe got when they were eventually told that this is a problem and this is an issue and they should stay at home for a little while. But yeah, I mean, there were shortages. It was covered it up. Like, it took weeks until the information got here. And when the information got here, it was like, oh, it was just a little fire, like nothing to worry about. There is no disaster of epic proportions. It's just like a little fire and it's now under control. And I think it took like months, if not years, until the scope of the disaster was actually told to the public. But most doctors and scientists kind of understood what was going on, so they started giving iodine pills to their friends and family. Yeah, so apparently the smoke is now blowing towards rural areas of Russia and nearby Belarus, but they shifted in the direction of Ukrainian capital of Kiev. Like, honestly, Russia seems to be the gift that keeps on giving towards the Ukraine. Authorities in Kiev, which has a population of about 3 million people, say radiation levels in the city remain normal for now. Its citizens are already in lockdown due to the pandemic, so they can't get out anyway. Oh, luckily these two disasters got overlapped, so that's a good thing. The winds are more of a significant headache for the site of the Cernobyl's closed nuclear power plant. Strong gusts could spread the fires towards what's left of the facility, as well as the abandoned equipment used to clean up the disaster. At the moment, we cannot say the fire is contained, says the State Agency of Ukraine Exclusion Zone Management, Katarina Pavalova. Man, think about all the e-thoughts that are going to be able to take such beautiful pictures next year. I never understood why people judge them. Like, there was this massive campaign against ladies that would travel to Cernobyl, because you can actually do that. You can go into the exclusionary zone via tourism. Like, you can actually pay a guide and they will take you there. And there were a lot of e-girls which went there and took pictures. And people on the internet were judging them. And I'm like, motherfucker, this chick is probably making $10,000 on those pictures alone. How much money are you making for judging her? It's like, it's capitalism. And they were like, oh, but the memory of the people that died there. And it's like, if I died there, do you think I care if a titty lady comes on my grave and takes a couple of pictures? Like, is that, do you think that my concern is if I'm dead? I generally like do not understand. Like, for them, it's business, like if people want to see that, fine. And this happened, I guess, after the TV show. But there were also a lot of tourists that went there after Call of Duty. They wanted to see the Ferris wheel. And, again, like, people are like, oh, they came here because they play the video game and they don't show respect to the people that, blah, 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 blah. It's like, man, when you get to die, then you get to talk about respect. Like, I generally, like, am I the only one who generally doesn't think like that? Like, if there was such an event in my town and I have to evacuate, do you think I give a shit if 40 years in the future some twat who played the Call of Duty game comes and takes a picture in my old house? I probably don't care, like, there are other things that I would worry about than who went into my house 40 years after the fact. But no, I guess, like, there are people that need to speak for the dead and care about what the dead would feel. Like, how do you even know? Like, I want to talk with these necromancers that kind of get how the dead would feel if someone would do that. Some big titty girl would come up there and take a couple of snapshots and upload it to her Instagram for her followers to see and give her money. Huh? Is that why you can't sleep at night? To watch her pictures. I don't think she's part of the problem. You know why I think is part of the problem? The people giving her money. Why do we never condemn these people? Like, everyone condemns the e-thought, but no one condemns the actual people giving money to them. They are the ones that need to be condemned, not her. She's a savvy capitalist woman using all she can to milk everything she can out of the assets that were given to her by Jesus Christ. So I do not blame her. No, I blame the people giving the money to them. Those are the sad, pathetic fools, huh? Poor, unfortunate souls. Anyway, I need to stream. Resident Evil for Billy. Probably I'm going to finish it today. My God, it took me, 3 or 4 parts in order to record the 3-hour game? Shameful display. I'm generally curious, though, what should I play when I finish Resident Evil? Like, the choices would be Code Veronica or Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you go to play as eco-fascists, blowing stuff up and scaring innocent civilians. That sounds like a cool game, Greta Thunberg would probably like Cloud. Is that? Do you think this is what Greta Thunberg plays in her free time? Final Fantasy VII remake. I know, but I think I'm probably going to play it. So if you want to check it out, head on over to my live stream channel and you'll see me playing it. Not today, probably tomorrow. So I'll see you guys there.